we're meeting with Ireland's Olympians, or at least those who would be in Tokyo at the moment and who hopefully will be again in 12 months' time. I'm delighted to be joined this morning by Róisín Upton, a member of Ireland's women's hockey team who have qualified to take part in the Olympics for the first time. Hello, Róisín.
Hi, Rob.
Listen, great of you to join us. You should have been out there in the heat and humidity of Tokyo at the moment with a win against the Netherlands under your belt and preparing for the second game. How does it feel to be home in Ireland?
Yeah, it's a strange one this week with the lead up to the opening ceremony and, you know, the kickoff of the Olympic Games. It was definitely a tougher week. But, you know, fingers crossed it will go ahead next year. We have another year to prepare. It
has thrown an awful lot of plans for sport and obviously everything else into total disarray as well. You're a teacher and you were going to be, well, at least planning anyway, on going back into the classroom in September. I'm guessing that those plans are probably on hold a little bit now.
Yeah, so I graduated in May 2019 and I opted to put them on hold in the year building up to the Olympics and just to give everything I had to the games and to preparing and to trying to get selected for the squad. So yeah, I suppose it'll be the same plan again now. It took a couple of weeks to accept that it was another year on hold, but at the same time it's hugely exciting. You know, I get another year to be semi-pro training 3 to 4 days a week with the girls. You know, I can't complain too much.
So you'll be able to resist the temptation when the call comes for those 1,000 extra teachers that we're going to need in September. You've got something else in mind anyway. Looking back a little bit, it's been a wonderful couple of years for women's hockey. The World Cup final, obviously, you know, something that perhaps you could only have dreamed about, perhaps you visualized it. But then there was the 2 games against Canada as well, and you played such a central role in that. What are your own memories of what it's been like, this tumble of events over the past year?
Yeah, it's been a whirlwind, hasn't it? I think it's strange reflecting back throughout the last couple of months on the last 2 years. You know, already having a 2-year anniversary coming up on the 5th of August of the World Cup final, you know, that's strange in itself that it's already been 2 years. Time is absolutely flying. But it's been fantastic. I think the surge in hockey all over the country has been brilliant. There's been a number of clubs set up down in Munster. I know there's huge waiting lists. There's people that have played the game throughout school and that are going back to it. So it's all those things that you see on the day-to-day that are so positive and, you know, I suppose that fill you with pride really that, you know, we're able to have that impact. So yeah, it's been an incredible 2 years, but we're far from done and there's so much more to look forward to. You know, if this squad retired now, I think we'd be unhappy. You know, I think we've a little bit unfinished business to do and getting to that Olympic Games will be huge.
Hopefully you've a way to go there. You're 26 years old at the moment, so another few games perhaps and to get under your belt. I mentioned you played a very special role in the game against Canada, playing on with a broken wrist. You're probably sick to death of telling the story, but you've no injuries coming into this interview, I'm guessing.
No, I don't. I'm injury free. Yeah, it's given me a chance to rehab over the last couple of months, which has been great. I fractured a small bone in my wrist and it actually didn't knit back together properly. So it had been aching and I had it strapped up in the months leading up to the Olympics. So in that sense, you know, it's been great to rehab it and it's feeling much stronger now.
Great. What do you recall of that? Because the game was obviously played in Energia Stadium in Donnybrook. It was a big ask from Irish hockey to actually go out there and call on the crowd to turn up, but they did. The atmosphere must have been like something that you hadn't experienced in Ireland before. Obviously, you had the World Cup and you've played NCAA over in the States as well in front of a big crowd. But what was special about that being in front of your own home fans?
Yes, the public support means everything. And, you know, it's one of the best things about being Irish. You know, we love a bandwagon, we love jumping on board, and especially with the hype around the World Cup. We had a full year without games in Ireland. So I suppose the excitement was building to finally now get to see this team that has won a silver medal in Ireland on their home ground and to have a capacity of 5,000, 6,000 people. And to fill that out was insane. You know, it's beyond anything any of us had ever imagined. And I suppose it was a big risk for Irish hockey to do that. But I think it came up trumps, and hopefully, it won't be the first and the last. Hopefully there'll be more to come in the future.
How long have you been playing the sport? What age were you when you first got involved?
I started in first year in secondary school. It was just the sport for girls. I was sport mad with two older brothers. So I said I'd give it a go. And yeah, I wasn't fantastic at the start by any means. I was strong and fast and athletic, but it didn't come to me quickly. But fell in love with the game, yeah.
And then you progressed. You played college over in the US as well. How did that playing into your own sense of your career, your future? Obviously, taking it up relatively late, it wouldn't have necessarily been the idea to go and play semi-pro and get to a World Cup final, but it quite quickly became apparent that you had plenty of talent.
Yeah, it wasn't in the plans originally, I suppose. And I think when I was around 14 or 15, I had to make a decision what sport I was going to stick with, and hockey was the one, and the dream was to play for Ireland and get to play in the World Cup and in the Olympics. But the journey to getting my first cap wasn't as straightforward as I hoped it would be, and I wouldn't change it. I went over to the States and I absolutely loved playing for 4.5 years in the University of Connecticut, and I think it had a huge impact on me as a person and as a player. I think I developed massively. I had a great coaching staff over there, and I got to see a different style of hockey and challenge myself in different ways. Their league is so much more condensed. You're playing at least 2 matches every week, and the season is I think it's over a 3-month period, as opposed to being prolonged with maybe 1 match a week and a break every now and again. So it's such an intense period that you can't help but develop and really challenge yourself, and I loved it. So I think it had a huge impact on me. And then when I came home, eventually I was lucky enough, got my first cap, and yeah, it's been crazy route since then, yeah.
And Connecticut now, of course, is home to Katie Taylor. Obvious Olympic parallels there. What are your own special memories of the Olympics? Has it always held a special place in your heart as a sports mad young girl and teenager?
It has. I think it's very exciting that it's only every 4 years, but when August came around, it was on the telly, from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. We absolutely loved it. It didn't matter what the sport was. It's a great chance to see sports that you don't usually get to see. I love gymnastics, athletics, which I wouldn't typically see, and even tennis. I think we always get the Wimbledon here in Ireland, but we don't get to see the Australian Open or the French Open as much. So then getting to see other sports like that in the Olympics and getting to see the stars, it's been a huge dream. It's the pinnacle of all sports, and for them all to be culminated together in one place over a 3-week period it's really exciting. Yeah, so yeah, Katie Taylor would stand out. Her famous gold medal was incredible. I think it lifted the whole country. For such a small island, we really punch above our weight in the sports world. But she wouldn't be the only one. The two brothers down in Cork rowing to success a couple of years ago, Annalise Murphy sailing, the list goes on, obviously starting with Sonia O'Sullivan. But recently enough, actually, I found out that in my own secondary school, in the Crescent Comp in Limerick, we've had, I think it's 4 Olympians actually, so fingers crossed I'll add to that list, and Greg O'Shea might be on that list with the Irish Rugby Sevens as well. So yeah, sport's been a huge part of my life, and the pinnacle is the Olympics.
That's great. Hopefully they'll just have a little spot reserved on the wall for you then, maybe. Of course, you have to make sure of your place on the team and get there as well. How much of a struggle has it been in your mind, just coming to terms with that? Or are you quite relaxed? Can you look forward and place yourself in the position of being in the starting lineup in Tokyo with relative ease, or is it something that you have to work hard at?
I think the difficult thing over the last couple of months has just been the unpredictability of everything. We're so used to planning my life, knowing option A, B, and C, what could happen. So even when the Olympics were postponed, it didn't really sink in until we got the actual schedule for what the next year might provisionally look like. And, it's a very provisional schedule. And then I started to realize, we're going through this again. Like it's tough training as much as we enjoy it, and love being with the girls. It's an incredibly intense process. The squad, of course, has been increased again in numbers. It's that much more challenging. We have a serious group of girls coming through that are really going to are really going to, what's the word, I suppose, push
Put
us
you
for
under
places.
pressure.
Yeah, put us under pressure, which is what we want. It's what you want from the squad. But I think, yeah, everyone has worries, but at the same time, I just try to find the positives. And yeah, I suppose we try not to look too far ahead. It's still a little bit uncertain as to whether the Olympics will go ahead. So just trying to enjoy the process of training here alone and getting to do some bits of activities that I wouldn't normally get to do. And we're just back training regionally, so it's been absolutely brilliant to see the girls. I haven't seen a lot of them since March. So yeah, it's, as tough as it is, we're just taking it day by day.
Well, it is a very special group, and you've played a special part in getting as far as you have. Hopefully the journey is, as you say, only at the beginning, and we will get to see you lining out in Tokyo in 12 months' time. But for now, Róisín Upton, successful member of the Irish women's hockey team, thank you very much for your time.
Thanks, Rob.